Life accomplishments are such a big deal. And in fact, I've been thinking about getting a tattoo. Hi, my name is Dr. Ruth Zeman. I'm a positive psychologist, and we're talking about PERMA, the science of well-being. PERMA was P-E-R-M-A, positive emotions, engaged in your activity, relationships, meaning, and the last one is accomplishments, which is what we're talking about. Now, first, they need to be grounded in your meaning, because if they don't mean anything to you, what's the point? Also, they need to be in alignment with the meaning of your friends and relationships, because, come on, we do it for accolades. We do it for the applause. And I mean this literally. This is where your ego goes. This is what you're doing. And I've been thinking about a tattoo. I don't know if it's exactly going to be, I don't have one yet. But grow or die just sits in my heart as, yeah, you're either growing in life and have accomplishments, or you're slowly dying. And there's no in between. And we see this in nature, and we see this in science. A tree is either growing or dying. And if a limb starts to die, you cut it off. Now, what does that look like in life? I don't want you going around cutting your limbs off, because that's silly. Of course, that's not what I mean. I'm recently divorced, and we weren't growing together. We weren't building together. We did not have a future. And while there was also infidelity, it shows that he was growing in a different direction. And I literally used the words as we were discussing things, that I could no longer follow him in the directions he was going. And I grew up very Christian, and so this was very hard, and I had to grow through it. This divorce was actually an accomplishment. Now, I have a lot of friends who've gone through divorce now, and I'm collecting people as in my healing journey, and it's interesting to note that accomplishments, while we want accolades, while we want the applause, it can also look like showering when you're depressed. Whatever was hard for you, if you get up and you do it, you're still growing in discipline, and this is key to happiness and success. But let's dive in a little deeper. So years ago, I think I was in a waiting room, and it said free books, and pretty much that's how you kidnap me. And I don't remember the title. I can see it clearly in my head, but it was about this young man who had done something really stupid when he was 18, and he'd gone to jail, and he was there for 5 years, and he got out, and he was struggling to find work, which is a story that, while I barely relate to it, I understand unemployment. I understand coming out of a isolated situation after years and being shocked by the world. I don't relate to being in jail. I can see how, anyway, try not to dive down that little rabbit hole, because I totally could. He was encouraged by a mentor to start running. And it's fascinating, because he started running, and then he ran into a runner, and he was running around this lake in his hometown, and everybody knew who he was, so he was not going to be able to run away from his background. Everybody knew that he'd served time. Everybody knew what he'd done, and I don't remember because it wasn't pertinent. So he starts running. And here's the thing. People who exercise are doing something that is in fact an accomplishment, and you do get to see results. And the runner he met that day said that he ran 9 miles every weekend, and the young man thought, I can do that. That is something I can set as a goal. And he did. And other people heard of his goal, and they joined him, and he built more relationships, and he built more community, and he ended up getting a job just because he was consistently disciplined and running around the lake. And the elements of this are all here in PERMA. This is how you are successful. You build community. You do things that other people resonate with because it's good. Good things look like Toastmaster ribbons, where you are putting forth an effort to learn how to public speak and get over nervousness. Accomplishments are things that other people recognize. So while I said a shower is something that's an accomplishment, it is also something that everyone in your family is going to be very grateful for. And if you're living alone and going out in public, other people are grateful for your hygiene. no judgment here, but please, yes, bathing is actually vital. Okay, so the best accomplishments stretch you, grow you, enhance your relationships, and build your community. But they don't have to, because showers don't build community unless you invite someone in the shower, and I'm not going to do that. I know, it's kind of silly, but when we see this moving dynamically together within PERMA, you start to see how this builds happiness. Because okay, we'll just use me. My meaning in life is love others and love myself. I've learned I wasn't loving myself. My most recent accomplishment was finishing grad school and getting my PhD. And I started it with one story as a healing journey, because I wanted to be a romance writer, because I wanted to do certain things, and I was going to be married and an empty nester, and everything changed. Everything changed to the point where even AI is taking over qualitative data analysis, and I don't have as much access to employment in research for psychology. However, I'm still accomplishing things. I am still moving forward, and there is evidence every day that I'm still growing. Within that, I'm still loving myself, because all of the things I'm growing in are in alignment with my life meaning. My relationships are about loving them and loving myself, and that's in alignment. And then it's building new community, because as I grow and change, so does my community. Which means I've actually lost some friends in the last year. A totally normal part of going to grad school, a totally normal thing when you lose loved ones, a totally normal thing when you go through the divorce. So that's something interesting that's not an accomplishment, but is kind of hidden in the details of PERMA, and that is the loss of relationship as you grow. It's another video. Anyway, I hope you have an accomplishment that you can celebrate, and put it down below. I'll celebrate with you. Also, feel free to like and subscribe and share with all your other nerdy friends, and we'll talk more soon.